The night sky above Earth had always been calm. People looked up and saw stars shining like diamonds, never thinking danger could come from them. But things began to change when satellites stopped sending signals. First one satellite vanished, then another disappeared. Soon entire networks in orbit went dark. At first, scientists thought it was technical failure, but when telescopes picked up flashes of light near the lost satellites, fear grew across every nation. In the capital city of Earth Union, a council of leaders gathered. The room was filled with long tables, glowing screens, and maps of the sky. General Rian stood at the center, his face calm but his eyes sharp. He explained that unknown ships were moving near Earth's orbit. These ships were not built by humans. Their design was strange, with sharp edges and shifting lights that no one on Earth had ever seen before. "Whoever they are," said Ryan, "they have already attacked our satellites. We must prepare for more." The council was silent. Some leaders wanted to send peace messages. Others said peace meant weakness. The oldest leader, Mira, raised her voice. "We cannot bow our heads. If they destroy our tools in the sky, they can destroy our cities next. We must be ready." At the same time, far away in a hidden observatory, a young scientist named Aaron watched the stars with worry. He saw movement near the orbit of the moon. Strange ships appeared and vanished as if they could bend light around them. He recorded their shapes and sent the report to the Union Council. His message was simple. "They are closer than you think." Within days, the world changed. Air traffic was restricted. Warships moved into the oceans, ready to protect coastlines. Space fleets that had only been used for research were armed with weapons. People around the globe felt a quiet fear, but they also felt unity. Humanity had argued for centuries over land, power, and belief, but now everyone had a common threat. In a training field, soldiers gathered under bright lamps, preparing for missions they never imagined. A pilot named Leon checked her ship, the Starhawk. She had trained for years, but this was the first time she might face real combat beyond Earth. She whispered a promise to herself. "I will not let them harm my home." The first warning came quickly. Radar picked up a cluster of objects entering orbit. They moved with unnatural speed, faster than any human craft. The fleet of Earth rose to meet them. Ryan commanded the defense from the control station. The screen showed glowing dots rushing toward Earth. His voice was steady. "This is no longer a question of peace. This is survival." When the alien fleet came into clear view, everyone in the station felt their breath stop. The ships were massive, shaped like blades of dark metal pulsing with blue light. They did not send signals. They did not try to talk. They only advanced. The first strike was sudden. A beam of energy cut through one of Earth's defense satellites. The explosion lit up the sky. The fleet of Earth answered with missiles, lasers, and railguns. The battle in orbit had begun. From the ground, people could see flashes in the night sky like a storm among the stars. Families stood outside their homes, staring upward. Some prayed silently, others simply watched in fear. In the middle of the fight, Aaron sent another message to the Union. His observatory had recorded a strange signal hidden between the alien attacks. He believed it was some form of communication, but not one aimed at peace. It sounded like a warning or perhaps a demand. The Union Council did not yet understand it, but Mira's face grew dark when she read the transcript. "This is not an invasion for land or resources. This is a test of how much we will endure." The first battle ended with heavy damage. Several of Earth's ships were destroyed, but the alien fleet pulled back after the exchange. It was not a full attack, more like a trial. Ryan stood in the command center and looked at the broken remains of human ships drifting in orbit. His voice was calm but heavy. "They wanted to see how we fight. They wanted to measure our strength." The silence after the battle was heavy across the world. Cities turned off their lights at night, waiting for the next strike. Soldiers repaired ships, scientists worked on decoding the alien signal, and ordinary people waited for news, holding on to hope. On the edge of the observatory, Aaron looked again at the stars. He whispered to himself, though no one was near to hear. "They will come again. But they do not know us yet. They do not know what humans become when we are pushed to the edge." The sky was no longer silent. Humanity's story among the stars had just begun. The council chamber of the Earth Union was crowded. Leaders from every continent sat in a wide circle, screens glowing in front of them. The air was tense, filled with whispers, as news of the first battle spread across the world. The alien ships had tested Earth's defenses and withdrawn, but no one believed they were gone for good. General Ryan stood at the front. His uniform carried marks of command and his voice was calm, though his eyes showed the weight of loss. We fought them once. We held them back, but only barely. We cannot wait for their next strike. We must choose our path. A leader from the Northern Alliance spoke first. We should keep trying to talk. Maybe they will answer if we keep sending peace signals. Another leader shook her head. They already sent their answer. They cut down our satellites without warning. Their language is force. Mira, the elder among them, leaned forward. Her hands rested on the table as she spoke. Peace is not weakness, but peace cannot exist without strength. If they think we are fragile, they will not stop. They will push until we break. The council fell into silence. The room was filled with the weight of choices. They could prepare for war, or they could risk being ignored until it was too late. Far from the chamber, the people of Earth debated as well. In the crowded markets of coastal cities, families argued about whether to stay or move inland. In schools, children asked teachers if the sky was safe. Some believed the Union would protect them. Others feared no one could. In a small town, a farmer named Taryn listened to the radio as he worked on his field. The news of the battle above had shaken him, but he refused to leave his land. If they come, I will not run, he told his neighbors. This soil is my home, and I will stand on it. His words spread quickly, and many felt the same. Meanwhile, in the observatory, Aaron studied the strange signals again. His equipment picked up faint codes buried inside the static of the alien weapons. He believed the attackers were not only testing Earth's strength, but also sending messages back to their own kind. The signals seemed to describe Earth's defenses, like reports of prey being measured. Aaron wrote his findings and sent them to the Union. His report carried one chilling line. They will not stop until they are convinced we are not worth the cost of fighting. Back in the training fields, pilots prepared for the next clash. Leon, the young pilot of the Starhawk, checked her ship carefully. Her hands moved quickly over the controls, her mind focused on the sky. Other pilots teased one another to hide their fear, but their laughter faded when the sirens tested across the base. Every sound reminded them that the enemy could return at any time. That night, the council voted. By majority, they agreed to prepare for war but continue to send signals of peace. Ryan accepted the decision with respect, though he had doubts. He looked across the chamber and spoke firmly. We will not strike first, but if they return, we will meet them with all the strength of Earth. The news spread around the world. Factories shifted to build weapons and ships. Scientists shared research across borders. For the first time in history, humanity worked together as one. Old rivalries and grudges faded under the weight of survival. Still, there were doubts. In dark corners of cities, whispers rose that humanity was too weak. Some feared the aliens would come with greater force and sweep Earth aside. Fear was a shadow that no leader could fully remove. Aaron, alone in his observatory, felt that shadow too. Yet he also felt something stronger. As he watched the stars, he remembered Mira's words in the council chamber. Peace without strength could not survive. He thought of Ryan's steady command and Leon's courage as a pilot. And he realized something simple but powerful. Humanity was afraid, but humanity was also stubborn. The aliens might see Earth as fragile, but they did not yet understand the human heart. Humanity had built cities out of deserts, crossed oceans with fragile boats, and stood against storms greater than themselves. They had endured for thousands of years, and they would endure again. In the darkness of space, alien ships gathered once more. Their lights pulsed as they formed new patterns, preparing for another strike. They believed Earth would eventually yield. They did not yet know the truth. Back on Earth, Mira looked out from her balcony at the night sky. She saw the stars shining above and whispered quietly, "You came with silence. You came with strength, but you will learn who we are." The voices of Earth had chosen. They would not surrender. The world waited in silence after the council's decision. Factories ran without rest, building ships and weapons. Young men and women signed up for training. Families prepared shelters, unsure of what the next days would bring. The sky above Earth, once a place of beauty, now carried a heavy weight. Everyone knew the enemy would return. General Ryan walked through the command center, watching his officers prepare. Screens showed the positions of Earth's defense fleets stationed in orbit and near the moon. He paused by a window, staring into the dark sky. Somewhere out there, the alien fleet was waiting. His duty was clear. We must hold them at the gates. he said quietly to himself. At the training base, Leon sat inside her ship, the Starhawk. She tightened her gloves and tested the engines. Around her, dozens of other pilots prepared as well. Some laughed to hide their fear. Others whispered prayers. Leon said nothing. Her eyes were steady, her mind sharp. She thought of her family on the ground and promised she would not let the enemy reach them. Aaron, in his observatory, worked day and night. He tracked the alien signals and movements with his telescopes. He sent constant updates to the Union Council. His latest report warned that the enemy ships were moving again, closer than before. His words were clear. They will strike within hours. The warning spread like fire. Alarms rang across bases. Fleets moved into position. Soldiers filled stations. The night sky over Earth began to glow with the movement of human ships leaving the atmosphere. People on the ground stood outside and watched, silent but proud as the defense of their world rose into the heavens. The alien fleet appeared without warning. They slipped out of the darkness like shadows. Their ships formed long lines, sharp and endless, each glowing with blue fire. They made no sound, no attempt to speak. They only advanced. Rian stood at the center of the control station, his voice firm as he gave orders. Hold the line. Let them come close, then strike. The first clash began with light brighter than the stars. Alien beams cut across the sky, tearing into human ships. Explosions shook orbit, fire blooming in the dark. But Earth's fleet answered. Missiles streaked forward. Railguns fired with thunder, and laser beams cut across the enemy lines. Leon and her squadron dived into the fight. The Starhawk shook as she turned hard, chasing an alien craft that moved with strange speed. She locked her weapons and fired. The enemy ship exploded in a burst of blue light. Her voice filled with steady fire as she called to her squad. Stay together. Do not let them break our line. All across orbit, human ships fought with fierce courage. Many were destroyed, but they did not fall without taking enemies with them. The battle was chaos, fire and metal colliding in silence. From the ground, people saw streaks of light painting the night, each one a life risking everything for Earth. In the observatory, Aaron followed the fight through his instruments. He recorded the enemy's patterns, noticing how they shifted formation when humans resisted longer than expected. He realized the aliens were surprised. They had expected Earth to collapse quickly, but instead, they were being held back. He sent a message to the Union Council. They underestimated us. They are testing, but they did not expect this resistance. Hours passed, and still the battle raged. Leon's squadron lost half its ships, but those who remained fought with unbroken will. General Rian stood tall in the command center, his voice calm even as losses came in. We are not broken. Hold the line. At last, the alien fleet began to pull back. Their ships turned, vanishing into the darkness of space, leaving behind the wreckage of both sides. Silence returned to orbit, broken only by the sight of drifting debris and flashes of dying fire. On Earth, people cheered. They had seen the enemy come in force and had watched their own rise to meet them. The victory was not complete, but it was enough to give hope. Children in schools drew pictures of ships defending the sky. Farmers raised their flags higher. Families spoke with pride of those who fought. But in the council chamber, Mira reminded everyone of the truth. This was only the beginning. They will return stronger and with greater force. We cannot rest. We must be ready, Rand agreed. His eyes were hard as he looked at the map of the stars. They came to measure us. Now they know we will not bow. Next time they will come to break us. Aaron sat at his observatory window watching the stars once more. His heart was heavy but also proud. Humanity had faced the storm and had not fallen. He whispered into the quiet night. They will learn who we are. They will learn the cost of underestimating Earth. The first defense had ended. The war had truly begun. The first defense gave hope to Earth, but it also revealed painful truths. Many ships had been lost and thousands of lives ended in orbit. The enemy had pulled back not because they were defeated, but because they had measured Earth's strength. Everyone knew they would return. In the Earth Union Council chamber, silence hung over the leaders. The victory celebrations outside could not be heard in this room. General Rian stood with arms crossed, his face set like stone. Mira spoke slowly, her voice calm but heavy. We stood against them once, but next time they will come with more. If we do not grow stronger, we will be broken. Some leaders disagreed. One from the Southern Federation argued, we cannot win against a force that travels the stars. They can bring endless fleets. We should send a message of surrender before they burn our cities. The room grew tense. Ryan's voice cut through the air like steel. Surrender will not save us. Did you not see what they did? They destroy without warning. They do not want peace. They want obedience. If we kneel now, we give them the keys to Earth. The council divided. Some wanted to fight to the last. Others wanted to negotiate in fear. Doubt spread like smoke, filling the air of every nation. In the streets, the people felt the same conflict. Some cheered for the defense fleet, waving flags and singing songs of courage. Others whispered in alleys that the war was hopeless. Old rivalries began to rise again. Nations arguing about who should give more ships and who should be spared. Unity, which had burned bright during the first defense, began to flicker. At the training base, Leon saw the effects of doubt in her squad. Some pilots trained with fierce fire, pushing themselves harder than ever. Others looked tired, their eyes full of fear. During one evening, a young pilot asked her quietly, "Do you think we can win, or are we only waiting to fall?" Leon looked at him firmly. "We fight because it is our home. Even if they come with endless ships, we will stand. If we do not, then who will?" Her words gave strength to some, but the fear never fully left. Meanwhile, Aaron worked alone in his observatory. He studied the strange signals left behind after the first battle. One night, as he listened to the patterns, he discovered something unexpected. The signals carried not only reports of Earth's defenses, but also arguments among the aliens themselves. Some seemed eager for war, while others questioned the cost. Aaron realized the enemy was not fully united. He sent his findings to the council, hoping it would give them courage. His report said, "They doubt too. They do not see us as weak prey anymore. They argue if we are worth the fight. That is why we must not break." Still, fear was difficult to silence. In secret corners of the world, voices rose calling for separation. Some nations began to prepare escape ships, dreaming of leaving Earth behind if the war grew too fierce. Rumors spread that leaders were hiding secret deals with the aliens, though no proof existed. The shadow of distrust spread quickly. In the command center, Ryan met with Mira late one night. The screens were dim, the room quiet. Ryan spoke with frustration. "We stood as one for a moment, but fear is breaking us apart faster than the enemy's weapons. If this continues, we will lose before the next battle even begins." Mira placed a hand on the table and looked at him with steady eyes. "That is why we must remind them who we are. Fear is natural, but courage is stronger. We must give them something to believe in, something to hold when the sky turns dark again." Her words echoed in Ryan's mind. The next morning, he called for a broadcast to the entire world. His image appeared on screens in homes, schools, and streets. His voice was clear and strong. "We are human. We have faced storms, wars, and disasters. We have rebuilt again and again. The enemy believes fear will break us. But we will not give them our fear. We will give them our fire." People across the world listened. Some cried, others stood straighter. The doubt did not vanish, but a spark of courage began to rise once more. Aaron, watching from his observatory, smiled faintly. "Yes," he whispered. "That is what they need. Not silence. Not surrender. Strength." Leanne, standing among her fellow pilots, lifted her head high. The young pilot who had asked her about victory now looked at her with new resolve. The shadows of doubt still lingered, but the fire of unity burned again. Humanity was not unbroken, but it was not defeated. The enemy was coming, and Earth would be ready to face them again. The days after Ryan's broadcast were filled with hard work. Factories did not stop, soldiers did not rest, and scientists pushed beyond their limits. Humanity had faced doubt, but now they stood together again. Still, everyone knew the enemy would soon return, and this time they would bring greater power. In the Earth Union Council, Mira spoke with urgency. "If we only wait, they will crush us. We must strike before they gather more ships. We must show them Earth will not only defend, but also fight back." Many leaders were shocked. Some whispered that attacking the enemy was too dangerous, but Ryan agreed with Mira. His voice was firm. "We cannot sit behind walls forever. If we strike first, we may change the balance. If we do nothing, we wait for death." After long debate, the council agreed. Humanity would launch a bold mission. Not a full invasion, for they lacked the numbers, but a single strike against the enemy's forward base near the moon. If they could destroy it, the aliens would know Earth was not weak prey. The plan was dangerous. Pilots would fly through enemy lines with little chance of return. Still, volunteers filled the lists. Leon was among the first to step forward. She stood before her squadron and said, We may not come back, but our fight will remind them who we are. I will go." Others followed, their eyes full of fire. In his observatory, Aaron tracked the enemy signals. He discovered that the alien fleet near the moon had a station hidden in the shadows of a crater. It was sending constant reports back to their command. Destroying that station would blind the enemy, at least for a time. Aaron's report gave the mission direction, and for the first time he felt his work could strike the enemy directly. The night of the mission came. Fleets rose from Earth like silver birds, engines burning against the dark sky. Families gathered outside to watch them leave, whispering prayers and holding hands. On every screen across the world, people saw the brave pilots flying into the unknown. Rian commanded from the control center. His voice carried strength as he spoke to the fleets. "Today we do not wait. Today we strike. You carry not only weapons but also the hope of Earth." The human fleet advanced toward the moon. At first, the space around them was quiet. Then shadows moved from the craters. Alien ships appeared in swarms, their blue lights glowing like sharp blades. The battle began instantly. Leon's squadron broke into tight formation. She led the charge, weaving between enemy fire. Her Starhawk shook, but she pressed forward. Around her, ships exploded in flashes of light, both human and alien. The silence of space was broken by endless fire. Aaron sat at his observatory, watching the signals change. He saw that the aliens were confused. They had not expected Earth to strike so soon. Their patterns shifted, their reports carried surprise. He sent urgent updates to Rian, guiding the fleet toward the hidden station. Finally, through the chaos, Leon saw the target. The alien station clung to the side of the crater, a massive structure glowing with power. Her squadron was down to half, but none turned back. "This is it," she said firmly. For Earth, the final run was brutal. Alien ships threw themselves in the way, but the human pilots pushed forward. Missiles launched, cutting through defenses. Leon locked her weapons on the core of the station and fired. A burst of fire spread across the crater, brighter than the sun. The alien station tore apart in silence, its pieces scattering into the dark. Cheers erupted in the control center as the signal from the station vanished. Ryan stood tall, his voice carrying pride. "They will remember this day." Earth struck back. On the ground, people celebrated in the streets. Children danced with flags and families embraced with tears of joy. For the first time since the war began, they did not only defend, they had taken the fight to the enemy. But in the quiet after the battle, Mira spoke with caution. "We have shown our strength, yes, but the enemy will not forget. They will come again, angrier and stronger." Aaron, staring at the stars, knew she was right, yet he also knew something had changed. The aliens had doubted Earth's will. Now they would doubt their own control. Humanity had sent a clear message. They would not be hunted. In the silence of space, broken wreckage floated where the station had been. Among it drifted the burning mark of Earth's defiance. The turning point had come, and there was no going back. The destruction of the alien station near the moon was a turning point. Humanity had struck first, and the world celebrated. But under the joy, leaders and scientists searched for answers. Why had the aliens come at all? What drove them to test and attack without a word? General Rian ordered every piece of wreckage from the moon brought back to Earth. The largest fragments were taken to secure labs where engineers and scientists studied the strange designs. The metal was unlike anything they had seen, shifting under light as if it were alive. The circuits pulsed faintly even when broken, carrying energy no human device could match. Aaron was called from his observatory to join the research team. He examined the alien systems carefully. Among the fragments, he discovered a storage unit filled with coded signals. At first, no one could understand the patterns. But Aaron had been studying the enemy transmissions since the first battle. He worked day and night, slowly unlocking the meaning. Weeks passed before he made a breakthrough. One evening, he called Mira and Ryan to the lab. His voice trembled with excitement and fear. "These signals are not only reports of battle. They are orders, and they tell us why the aliens came." The leaders gathered around the glowing screen. Aaron showed them the decoded fragments. The alien messages spoke of Earth not as an equal, not even as an enemy, but as a subject to be tested. The words were cold, like instructions written by a teacher about unruly students. "They see us as new," Aaron explained. "They believe humanity has grown too fast. They think we are a young race, rising without permission. They came to measure if we deserve a place among the stars. If we fail, they will erase us." Silence filled the room. Mira closed her eyes, her voice soft but firm. So this is not war for land or resources. This is judgment. Rian's jaw tightened. They think themselves rulers of the stars. They believe they can decide who may live free. Then they will learn their mistake. The discovery was shared with the council. Many leaders were shaken. Some grew more fearful, saying the aliens had the right to destroy any who threatened the balance of the galaxy. Others grew angry, saying no outside power had the right to control Earth's destiny. The debates grew fierce, but one truth was clear. Humanity could not surrender now. They were fighting not only for survival, but for the right to exist as equals. In the training base, Leon listened as the news spread among the pilots. Some grew nervous, whispering about facing a race that ruled the stars for ages. But Leon spoke firmly to her squadron. If they think we do not deserve to rise, then we will prove them wrong. Every battle we fight, every ship we save shows them what it means to be human. Across the world, people reacted in different ways. Some feared the idea of ancient rulers watching the stars. Others grew proud, shouting in the streets that Earth was no one's subject. Children in schools learned the story of the first defense, drawing pictures of human ships standing against giants. The discovery that Earth was being tested did not break the spirit of humanity. In many hearts, it made the fire stronger. Aaron continued his studies. The alien messages revealed something else. Among the orders, there were signs of disagreement. Some alien commanders doubted the wisdom of fighting Earth. They feared humanity's defiance would spread and inspire others. Aaron shared this with Mira, who nodded with calm strength. Even among them, there is doubt. That means they are not gods. They are not all-powerful. They are only a people who believe they rule. And people can be challenged. Rian prepared his fleets with greater resolve. He knew the next battle would be harder. But now he also knew its meaning. It was not only defense of cities or ships. It was defense of freedom itself. Every soldier and pilot who took to the sky would carry that truth. As night fell over Earth, Mira stood on a balcony looking up at the stars. She thought of the message hidden in the alien orders, the cold words that judged Earth as unworthy. Her voice was steady as she whispered, "We were not born to bow. We were born to rise." The hidden truth had been revealed. Humanity was not just fighting for survival. They were fighting to prove their place among the stars. The sky above Earth burned with light. The alien fleet had returned, larger than before, their ships moving like a shadow across the stars. Every city, every nation, every soldier knew this was the moment. Humanity would either stand or fall. General Ryan stood in the command center, his hands resting on the table. Screens showed the enemy approaching in endless lines. He spoke with quiet authority. "This is not just another battle. This is the test. Every pilot, every soldier, every ship must hold the line. Today we show them what Earth is made of." Leon adjusted her Starhawk's controls. Around her, pilots checked weapons and engines. Some were young, some had lost friends in earlier battles, but none wavered. "We do not run," she said to her squad. "We fight because this is our home. We fight because no one will take it from us." In the observatory, Aaron studied alien signals, tracing their formations and commands. He realized the enemy had learned from the last battle. They were coordinating perfectly, moving with speed and precision. But he also noticed hesitation in some ships, signs of doubt in their strategy. He sent his analysis to Rian, who nodded as he read it. "They doubt. That is our chance." The battle began with sudden fire. Alien beams tore through orbit, striking human ships. But Earth's fleet met them with unbroken determination. Missiles streaked across the darkness, explosions lighting the void. Leon led her squadron into the thick of it, weaving between enemy fire, taking down ships larger than her own. From Earth's surface, people watched the sky in awe and fear. The flashes of light seemed endless, a war written across the stars. Families clung to each other, hoping their loved ones among the pilots would return. But all knew the fight must continue. Hours passed. Ships were lost on both sides. Human ingenuity shone in the midst of chaos. Pilots like Leon used clever tactics, slipping through enemy lines to strike at weak points. Engineers in orbit repaired damaged ships faster than the enemy could destroy them. The world below watched and held its breath. Then the moment came. Aaron's analysis revealed the alien flagship, the core of their fleet held back slightly, vulnerable. He sent the coordinates to Ryan, who ordered a daring strike. Leon's squadron volunteered. They would fly straight to the heart of the enemy, facing near certain danger. The journey was brutal. Alien ships surrounded them, firing relentlessly. Yet Leon and her squad pressed forward, dodging, weaving, and striking with precision. Her Starhawk shook with each hit, but she did not falter. Around her, her squad mates fought with the same courage. Finally, they reached the alien flagship. Leon fired the targeting system. Missiles launched, striking the core. The flagship erupted in light, shaking the surrounding fleet. The enemy formation wavered. Confusion spread through the alien ranks. Humanity had broken the heart of the fleet. Ryan watched from the command center as the enemy began to retreat. His voice was steady but filled with pride. They came to test us, but they did not expect this. We are human. We do not kneel. We do not fear. We fight. On Earth, people erupted in joy. Streets filled with cheering, flags waving, songs of courage echoing everywhere. Children danced, old men and women clapped, and families embraced, knowing that humanity had survived the greatest challenge of their history. In the quiet of the observatory, Aaron looked at the stars, seeing the alien ships vanish into the darkness. He smiled faintly, whispering, "They learned the truth. Earth is not weak. We are not prey. We are defenders." Leon returned to orbit, battered but alive. Her squad, though smaller, had survived. They looked at each other, tired but proud. She spoke softly. "We faced the darkness and did not break. That is what it means to be human." Mira stood on the balcony of the command center, looking at the night sky. She spoke quietly to herself. They came with judgment, with tests, with fire. And yet humanity stands. Today we have shown that courage, unity, and heart can never be defeated. The last stand had ended. Humanity had not only survived, they had earned their place among the stars. They had fought, they had bled, and they had risen stronger than ever. The message was clear. Earth was a world that would never bow, and humanity's courage would shine across the galaxy. The battle was over. The alien fleet had retreated, broken and confused. Humanity had survived, and the courage of every soldier, pilot, and citizen had been proven. Yet the war had left scars, both on the ships and on the hearts of those who fought. In the Earth Union Council chamber, leaders gathered to decide the next step. General Rian stood tall, his voice calm but firm. "We have won the battle, but the enemy still exists. They may return stronger. We must send a message they cannot ignore. Not a threat, not a warning, but a declaration. One that tells them who we are." Mira nodded. "They came to judge us, to test if we were worthy. Now it is time we speak. Not with anger, not with fear, but with strength and dignity." A team of engineers and scientists prepared a signal, broadcasting across the paths the alien fleet had traveled. Aaron worked carefully, encoding words into light and sound patterns that the aliens could understand. He paused and thought of the entire human race. "This is not only for them," he said softly. "It is for every person who defended this world, for every child who will grow under the stars." The message was simple, clear, and unyielding. It spoke of courage, unity, and humanity's right to exist. It told the aliens that Earth would not bow, that humanity would defend itself against any force that tried to dominate them. And it promised that future generations would rise stronger, not weaker, in the face of any challenge. When the signal was ready, it was sent into space. Across Earth, people watched the sky, not for fire or destruction, but for the hope that their voices, carried by light and energy, had reached the stars. Families held hands. Children stared upward with wonder. Soldiers and pilots, those who had survived the battle, felt the weight of responsibility lift slightly, replaced with pride. Leon stood with her squadron on the deck of their returning fleet. Her eyes were tired, her hands still steady on the controls. "We did it," she whispered. "They will know us now." Rian and Mira watched from the command center as confirmation of the broadcast reached the edges of human detection. The alien fleet had not responded, but Aaron noted a change in their signals. Confusion, hesitation, and curiosity replaced the cold patterns of command. The aliens were listening. They were learning. For the first time since the attacks began, Earth had spoken not through weapons alone, but through a message of courage. Humanity had shown that they were not prey, not weak, not to be dismissed. They had shown intelligence, strategy, and the willingness to rise together. Across the planet, celebrations were quiet but meaningful. In schools, children learned the story of the last battle and the message sent to the stars. Families shared the courage of their friends and neighbors. Even in the places where fear had once spread, hope now flourished. Mira looked up at the night sky, her eyes reflecting the stars. "They will remember this," she said softly. Not just Earth, but every human who fought, every voice that refused to be silenced. We have not only survived, we have claimed our place. Leon watched the sky from orbit, feeling the weight of the journey. She thought of all the pilots who had flown into danger, and all who had protected Earth from the beginning. We fought for home, for family, for life, she said. And we have shown that we will rise no matter the storm. Aaron returned to his observatory, looking at the fading traces of the alien fleet. He smiled faintly, knowing humanity had done more than defend. They had sent a message that would echo through space for years to come. The stars above were no longer silent observers. They had seen the courage of Earth. The world had changed forever. Humanity had faced the unknown, battled against fear, and emerged stronger. The message had been sent. The final statement was clear. Earth would not be threatened. Humanity would not bow. And in the silence of space among the stars, the courage of one world would be remembered. Earth was alive. Humanity was proud. The stars had heard their voice, and the universe had taken notice.